Hello everyone, my name is Michael Hawkins from INTROSPECTUS. Just welcoming you to our recording of the content that we used this morning for our live webinar. I'd like to start by thanking you for taking the time to view the recording, and now hand over to Eugene, who will run us through the presentation. Eugene.
Hello everybody, my name is Eugene Knowling. I'm the Managing Director of INTROSPECTUS, and thank you for your time today. So the presentation I'm about to show you is the importance of executive support for the Essential 8. So what is the Essential 8? The ACSC Essential 8 is a framework developed by the Australian Cybersecurity Centre, ACSC, to help organisations protect themselves from the most common types of cyber attacks. It's a practical checklist of 8 things organizations should do to make it much harder for hackers to get in, move around, and cause damage. And if you do get attacked, to recover from the incident. So there are 8 strategies. There's application control, patch applications, configure Microsoft Office micro settings, user application hardening, restrict administration privileges, patch operating systems, multi-factor authentication, and regular backups. The ACSC Essential 8 provides the how of defending your organization. Executive leadership provides the why and the drive. The board, CEOs, or executive team support for cybersecurity signals to everybody in your organization that protecting digital assets, customers' data, and reputation is a shared responsibility.
Eugene, why would an organization choose the Essential 8?
So the Essential 8 is basically the most cost-effective in regards to time and money and effort for responding to a cyber incident. So it's basically the best way of protecting yourself at the least cost. So the average cyber incident for an organization of 1 to 4 people is $49,000 to $78,000, and it takes between 3 and 6 weeks to recover. For smaller organizations of 5 to 19 staff, the average cost is $98,000 to $157,000 for a cyber attack, and the timeframes to recovery are 5 to 9 weeks. And a medium organization of greater than 20 staff and less than 200 is $175K to $390K for a cyber incident, and it takes between 18 and 14 weeks to restore operations. That does not include loss of data and reputational damage. So why executive support matters? Executive support is essential to embed ACSC Essential 8 across your organization. So you need the authority inside the organization, funding, and cultural alignment. Executive support signals that security is a business priority, not just an IT problem. And the Essential 8 has become part of every decision in the organization. Without visible executive support, cyber initiatives often stall at middle management, lack the resources to mature, are deprioritized in favor of short-term operational goals. This in turn causes the cyber issue inside your organization to become greater. Governance and accountability. The Essential 8 is an ongoing program, not a once-off compliance project. If you get compliance checked at a point in time, by the time your compliance is checked, you're already out of date. It requires continuous monitoring, regular maturity assessments, periodic internal audits to ensure daily management of cyber resilience. Cyber must be embedded in your organization within a corporate risk management framework and board level reporting to ensure that audit findings and daily operational risks are tracked, reviewed, and addressed promptly. The table presented on your screen is from the ACSC report for 24-25, and low-level malicious attacks, for example, have increased by 30% since last year. These are the type of attacks that will go after organizations in this size bracket. They cause complete chaos and can actually destroy a business. So funding and resourcing. Implementation costs extend beyond tools. Successful adoption of the ACSC Essential 8 requires investment, staff training, continuous monitoring, redesigning business process to embed secure practices in day-to-day operation. Support from C-suite ensures consistent budget allocation for essential activities such as patch management, multi-factor authentication, rollout, system hardening, and regular audits. Underfunding cybersecurity often leads to failure in mitigation efforts. Adequate resourcing ensures that cyber controls are not only implemented but also maintained and improved over time.
Eugene, why is it so important to have adequate resourcing?
So to put it in context, a organization that has about 200 staff, they normally have between 900 and 2,500 application versions installed across their fleet. With that number of applications, on average, around 100 of those change per month. So it's between 60 and 100, depending on the number of applications. So your team must be dimensioned to allow you to actually patch 60 applications to 100 applications per month, roll them out, test compatibility inside your organization, make sure your business still continues to run. And that's only to stay at the same level you're at now. If you need to actually catch up, and we've had clients that have had thousands of patches to deploy, your team needs to be actually supported in that activity. And it's not just an IT problem, it's management need to be aware of the effort that's involved and the ongoing effort that's required to keep it compliant over time. This is where we come to culture and leadership. So building a secure organization depends on the behaviors, awareness, and accountability of every staff member. Technology provides the tools, but it's the people who make the tools effective. We often come across clients that have the right tools, but the people don't look at them, they don't actually manage them. And management don't ask their staff, are the tools actually doing their job and are they effective? Executives must model secure behavior, such as using multi-factor authentication, MFA, applying timely patches, and complete cybersecurity awareness. We often come across organizations that the rules that are applied to management are different to the rules that are applied to the rest of the organization. And in reality, executives are the easiest people to actually define in an organization, and they're the easiest people to actually attack from a cyber perspective. So it's super important that whatever processes put in place work for the organization and are actually used by CIOs, CSOs, and so forth. When leaders actively demonstrate their behaviors, it sends a powerful message that cybersecurity is a shared organizational priority, not a tick box exercise. Cyber risk equals business risk. It's not an IT problem. A statement that McKinsey published this year is, in the era of when cybersecurity was a separate, isolated function at organizations is over. Today's threats fueled by AI require organization-infused air-to-ground coverage from the boardroom down and across the institute. And it's very true. Prioritizing and sustaining progress. The Essential 8 has 3 maturity levels. Maturity level 1, 2, and 3. 0 is classified as non-compliance. Requires long-term planning to build cyber resilience. We recommend that organizations start at level 1 and move up to 3. Each level attains, strengthens defenses and reduces exposure to threats. Sustained progress depends on constant leadership oversight, dedicated resources, and clear accountability for results. Executives should endorse a phased roadmap and review milestones quarterly to maintain focus and momentum. Regular progress reviews ensures that goals remain realistic, gaps are identified early, and corrective action is taken promptly. This approach turns cybersecurity from a reactive task into a managed strategic program with measurable outcomes.
And Eugene, would you be able to provide a bit more difference information between the maturity levels?
Sure. So there are 3 maturity levels. Maturity level 1 has 48 controls. Maturity level 2 has 102 controls, and maturity level 3 has 152 controls. The split of technical to non-technical controls is about 70-30. They basically, each control can have anywhere from 1 setting up to 100 settings, depending on the actual part of the Essential 8 you're looking at. 1 will make you more secure than 0. 2 is the default for government, and then 3 is used for critical industry and where your data is very sensitive. So oversight and continuous improvement. So regular cybersecurity maturity updates in board and audit committees meetings provides visibility of how security initiatives are reducing organizational risk and ensuring ongoing accountability for performance against cyber resilience objectives. Executive dashboards present maturity trends, audit results, and areas of risks that expose the organization. Real-time visibility encourages proactive management rather than reactive responses to incidents. I'd like to draw your attention to the graph at the bottom of the slide. This is a real client, and this is what's technically called drift in the organization. It's where your cybersecurity posture changes. So you can see there on the 6th or 7th of October, there was a change inside the organization. And gradually over the following 2 weeks, that exposure is increasing. So what that's showing you is if that's not dealt with over time, your risk is increasing. So the importance of reviewing everything, at least quarterly, but our recommendation is weekly, is that it'll actually identify a problem and it can be fixed before it exposes the organization. Regular independent assessment and ACSC aligned audits validate performance and identify opportunities for improvement with the objectives, insights into controlled effectiveness as per the below diagram. Benchmarking the organization against industry standards, no matter what it is a good practice. Continuous improvement through assessment and feedback ensures that cybersecurity remains current, effective, and embedded into the business governance of your organization.
And Eugene, so why is oversight just so important?
Why is oversight so important? It's due to drift. So basically, any organization, you've hundreds of controls, you've hundreds of moving parts within your security boundaries inside your organization. So it is important to keep an eye on them because people get distracted. So you have tools, you have processes, and you have business requirements. Business can overtake security and people lose focus. And when you lose focus, you get drift. And when you have drift, you get more and more exposure to cybersecurity related issues. So it's super important by keeping focus on it. You just basically realign your staff to make sure it's going to be looked at every quarter and any issues will be addressed. But the key questions for executives, what is your current Essential 8 maturity level? Who holds accountability for maintaining and improving it? So you need to have somebody in your organization that's responsible. Are cyber risks discussed at board level at least quarterly with actions tracked and outcomes reported? Have we linked executive incentives and performance measures to demonstrable cybersecurity improvements inside your organization? Are we invested in staff awareness, secure culture, and ongoing education, not just in technical tools or systems? So our call to action from today's slide is executives should take ownership of cybersecurity as a core business risk. It's not just an IT matter. Establish regular board oversight ensures the resourcing aligns with strategic priorities and set clear accountability for outcomes. And treating the Essential 8 maturity as a continuous journey of improvement with leadership, visibility driving a culture of shared responsibility and resilience across the organization.
And I'm open for questions. Okay, we have a question. If implemented correctly, what percentage of risk can be managed? Okay, so that's an interesting question. So basically, if you implement the Essential 8 to maturity level 3, it will reduce 80% of cyber methods that they can use to attack you. So basically, you're reducing all the drive-by mail type attacks. It's more the state-funded attacks may be able to get into your organization, but you are reducing the risk by about 80% across your organization. Can you go through some statistics again about the number of people in an organization and how much? Yeah, sure. So 1 to 4 employees costs, the average direct cost to the organization is between $49,000 and $78,000, and it's 3 to 6 weeks for recovery. Small, between 5 and 19 employees is between 98 and 157,000, and the recovery time is 5 to 9 weeks. And medium is 20 to 199 employees. It's basically between 175,000 and 390,000 is the cost, and 8 to 14 weeks to recover. That does not include loss of data, reputation, and all the other aspects as well. Is Essential 8 targeted more towards IT hardware, software, or does it impact business policies as well? So the Essential 8 is very practical. So about 70% of it is technical control. So turn this on, turn that off. The other 30% is around processes and policies. So an example of a process or a policy would be call the ACSC if you see a cyber incident. It would be make sure your backups meet your business requirements. An example would be that all your backups for your financial system are done on the right dates. So you have backups of the end of financial year at each month end and so forth. So there's a 70-30% split from technical to policy.
Thank you everybody for today. If you have any questions, please reach out to myself or Stefan. Our numbers and email addresses are on the screen. And again, I'd like to thank you for today.